Victoria Hayes, huddled against the cold metal pillar on the train platform, trying to make herself invisible. At 28, she'd once had a career, an apartment, a future. That was before the medical bills from her mother's final illness consumed everything. Before the landlord changed the locks. Before she found herself here, barefoot in a torn lace dress that was all she had left from her former life. Waiting for morning when the station would be warmer. Snow fell steadily through the open platform, and she pulled her thin arms tighter around herself. The last train had departed an hour ago. Most travelers had gone. She'd learned that late evening was the safest time, when security was distracted and she could rest for a few hours. Before being moved along at dawn, her breath came out in visible clouds. Her feet had gone numb, which was almost a blessing. She closed her eyes, trying to remember warmth. "Mommy, look." Victoria's eyes snapped open. Two little girls stood a few feet away, maybe 5 years old. Identical twins in matching pink puffy coats with fur-lined hoods. They stared at her with wide, solemn eyes. "Girls, come here." A man's voice called sharply from further down the platform, but the twins didn't move. They continued to study Victoria with an intensity that made her want to disappear even more. "She doesn't have shoes," one whispered to the other. "A tea, and she's shaking," the second one replied. A man appeared behind them, early 30s, wearing an expensive dark coat and carrying 2 small backpacks. His styled hair and polished appearance spoke of wealth and success. When he saw what his daughters were looking at, his expression shifted from annoyance to shock. "Hey, Sophia, let's go," he said more gently, reaching for their hands. But the first twin, Emma, pulled away. She walked directly up to Victoria and began unbuttoning her coat. "Sweetheart, what are you doing?" the man asked. "She's cold, Daddy. She needs my coat." "Emma, you'll freeze," he protested. "But I have warm clothes at home." "She doesn't have anything." Emma's voice was matter of fact, as if the logic was obvious. Sophia joined her sister, also removing her coat. "And she's all alone, Daddy. Just like we don't have a mommy." The words hung in the cold air. Victoria saw pain flash across the man's face. "Girls, it's not that simple," he said quietly. But Emma had already draped her coat over Victoria's shoulders. Sophia added hers on top. The warmth was immediate and overwhelming. Victoria felt tears start to fall. "Please," she whispered. "I can't take these. Your daughters need them. We have more at home," Emma said seriously. "But you don't have any home at all, do you?" The simple question, asked without judgment, broke something in Victoria. She shook her head, unable to speak. Sophia looked up at her father with determination that seemed far beyond her years. "You need a home, and we need a mommy. Maybe that's why we found each other." The man, whose name Victoria would soon learn was Nathan Porter, stood frozen. She could see him struggling with something, emotions warring across his face. Finally, he knelt down in front of Victoria, meeting her eyes. "When did you last eat?" "Yesterday morning," Victoria admitted. Someone left half a bagel on a bench. Nathan closed his eyes briefly, then stood. "Can you walk?" "I think so. My feet are just cold," without a word. He removed his own scarf and knelt again, wrapping it gently around her bare feet, then lifting her as if she weighed nothing. "Daddy's strong," Emma said proudly to Victoria. "He carries us all the time." "Where are you taking me?" Victoria asked, afraid to hope. "Home," Nathan said simply. "We're taking you home." The drive to Nathan's house passed in a blur. Victoria sat in the back seat between the twins, who held her hands and chattered about their rooms and their toys and their cat named Whiskers. Nathan said little, his jaw tight, hands gripping the steering wheel. The house was beautiful, a warm colonial in a quiet neighborhood. Inside, Nathan led Victoria to the guest bathroom. "Take as long as you need. There are clean towels, soap, shampoo, I'll leave some clothes outside the door. He paused. You're safe here. Victoria stood under the hot shower and cried, watching months of dirt and despair wash down the drain. When she emerged, she found sweatpants and a soft sweater waiting, along with thick socks and slippers. In the kitchen, Nathan had made soup and sandwiches. The twins insisted Victoria sit between them at the table. She ate slowly, her stomach unused to real food. The girls are right, Nathan said finally. You need a home, and they need stability. Their mother died 2 years ago. Cancer. Since then, it's been nannies and housekeepers, but no one stays. The girls are difficult, according to the agencies. Too emotional, too needy. He smiled sadly at his daughters. I think they just miss having a mother. I'm not qualified to be anyone's mother, Victoria said quietly. I couldn't even keep my own life together. What happened? Nathan asked gently. So she told them about her mother's illness, the mounting medical bills, losing her job because she took too much time off for hospital visits, the eviction, the desperate spiral downward. She tried to get back on her feet, but without an address, she couldn't get hired. Without income, she couldn't get housing. The system is designed to keep people trapped, Nathan said quietly. I never really understood that until now. Emma climbed into Victoria's lap. Will you stay with us, please? Sweetheart, I'm a stranger. You don't know anything about me. We know you needed help and accepted it, Sophia said. Daddy says that takes courage. Nathan looked at Victoria. I have a proposal. Stay here tonight. Get warm. Get rested. Tomorrow, if you're willing, we'll talk about something more permanent. Not as a romantic thing, he added quickly, but maybe as a practical arrangement that helps us all. Victoria wanted to argue, to insist she couldn't accept such kindness, but she was so tired, and the twins were looking at her with such hope. Just tonight, she agreed, but one night became 2, then 3. Nathan helped Victoria get her documents replaced, took her to a doctor who treated her frostbitten feet and malnutrition. He offered her a job as the girl's nanny with a real salary, her own room, health insurance. You don't owe me this, Victoria protested. I'm not doing it because I owe you, Nathan said. I'm doing it because my daughter saw something I was too caught up in my own grief to notice. That there are people struggling all around us, and sometimes helping someone else is exactly what we need to heal ourselves. Victoria threw herself into caring for Emma and Sophia. She helped with homework, made creative lunches, listened to their stories about their mother. She helped them process their grief in ways the previous nannies hadn't bothered to. And slowly, she healed too. Not just physically, but emotionally. The girl's unconditional acceptance reminded her that her worth wasn't measured by her bank account or address. 6 months later, Nathan found Victoria in the garden, teaching the twins how to plant tomatoes. He sat down beside them, quiet for a moment. "Okay, I got a call from the city today," he said. "They're opening a new shelter with comprehensive services, job training, permanent housing assistance. They want to name it after you." Victoria stared at him. "What?" "I've been working on it since that night at the train station, using my business connections, calling in favors. The girl's story about finding you inspired me to do something real." He paused. "But they want you involved, to help run it, if you're interested." "I don't have experience with that kind of work. You have the most important experience. You've lived it. You understand what people need in a way I never could." Emma hugged Victoria's arm. "Will you still live with us?" "If you'll have me," Victoria said, tears in her eyes. "Always," Sophia declared. "You're our family now." A year later, the Hayes Porter shelter opened its doors. Victoria managed it with a staff of social workers and counselors. But her real gift was the way she saw each person who came through those doors as fully human, deserving of dignity and hope. Nathan watched her speak at the opening ceremony, the twins on either side of her holding her hands, and realized something had shifted in his heart, somewhere between that snowy night and this sunny afternoon. His practical arrangement had become something deeper. Victoria was no longer just the girl's nanny. She was the heart of their home, the person who taught them all that family isn't always about blood. Sometimes it's about showing up, about choosing each other day after day. That evening, after the girls were asleep, Nathan found Victoria on the back porch. "Thank you," he said simply. "For what?" "For staying. For giving my daughters the mother they needed. For showing me that sometimes the best things in life come from the most unexpected places." Victoria smiled. "I think your daughters would say they found an angel on a train platform." "No," Nathan said, taking her hand. "We found each other. And maybe that's what angels do. They disguise themselves as people who need help, so we learn what it means to love. Because sometimes the greatest gift we can give is the one we think we're receiving. Sometimes salvation comes wrapped in pink coats on a snowy platform. Sometimes the person we rescue ends up saving us. And sometimes, when children leave with their hearts instead of their heads, they show adults what really matters. Not wealth or status or success, but warmth and compassion and the courage to see someone else's pain and refuse to walk away. If this story moved you, please like, share, and subscribe for more tales of unexpected kindness.